Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod. That would have been Wicked Game by Chris Isaak. That was playing in this episode, not when someone jumps out of an aeroplane, but instead when multiple people make out with one another. Actually, I think it's just Emily. Like, Emily makes out with Brandon to this song. Or no, it's not. It's not just Emily. Emily makes out with Brandon to this song. And then Dylan and Brenda make out to this song.
Yes.
So I don't know this song. I love this song. It apparently has multiple uses. I would have only thought it applied to making out, but...
I mean, Ross and Rachel, it's playing in the background the night they first do it. So it was...
Which makes more sense than jumping out of an aeroplane.
Absolutely. I don't know. I don't dislike this song. It's definitely sexy. It's just, there's something about the long scoop that kind of...
The long scoop?
The long slide, like, no.
That's a music term. Okay. I was picturing him like scooping her up.
No.
Nobody loves no one. You know what I mean? That's what I was when you said that.
He does a lot of, I mean, there's that big slide right there. And, sliding is fine. It's a vocal technique. It's helpful. But when you have one as exaggerated as that one, because sliding also helps you go from different registers.
Okay.
Naturally without doing like, doo-doo. Because it's obviously going from like chest to head voice. Whew, we're getting into the vocal stuff already.
I don't know. All I know about slide is you've got to feel it. It's electric. Woogie, woogie, woogie. That's the only kind of slide I know anything about.
I made my desk start moving with my dance move, and then my coffee almost spilled. So,
ooh, that is too much of a dance move.
Yep.
If you're spilling your coffee, got to have control. So, by the way, I'm Jeff, and you gave up any right to ask me questions about my sex life when you decided you didn't want to be a part of it. And joining me on the other end of the internet, my host.
I'm Leslie, and I'm not the performer type.
No. By the end of it, I mean, you're going to be feeling that shit. You're going to be wanting to stage it up.
Oh no, she's been bitten by the bug.
That's right. Everybody's got to have a black mini dress.
Yeah, we need to talk about that off it at some point, because I didn't get to look up what that's referenced to. When they first came on, ooh. Ava Perón?
Okay, all right. So maybe let's start there, because, yeah, so this week, everyone, we are Cheesemeisters. We are talking about Season 2, Episode 8, Wildfire, which originally aired on September 12th, 1991. This episode introduces us to Emily Valentine.
Who?
Emily Valentine?
Oh,
This is Emily Valentine.
Oh, hi, Emily Valentine.
My name is Emily Valentine. Yeah. So there's a lot happening in this episode. And Emily comes to town. She meets literally everybody. She dates 40% of the guys on the show in like one episode. And pisses off Brenda like a lot. And sings multiple times. That's what happens in this episode.
Yeah.
So let's start with the song. Let's start with the performance at the end. That's something that didn't have to be explained in 1991.
Oh, wow.
Because it was so obviously what it was. It is the video for Robert Palmer's Addicted to Love.
Oh, okay.
Is him in the front, microphone, singing. Every member of the band is a woman in a black mini dress, just like them, dancing behind him. So when they were going to do Addicted to Clothes, that made perfect sense.
Okay.
When they decide to do Breaking Up Is Hard to Do with no rehearsal and having apparently got the backing track and given it to David so that it could be performed at this performance after the Dancing Soda Cans, one assumes.
Yeah.
That part makes zero fucking sense to me, that they just switched it to that song. But they did. But the whole thing's a Robert Palmer reference.
Okay.
The Addicted to Love video was very, very visually famous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So much so that when Tone Loc did his video for Wild Thing, it's the same video, only it's in black and white. Like, he's doing the same thing. He's performing, and there's women behind him all dressed in that black mini dress outfit, singing Wild Thing. So,
nice.
Yeah. So I hope that is a satisfactory answer to your why the Christ are they wearing those?
It's more satisfying and makes more sense than again my Evita.
Yeah, the Evita wouldn't have fit so well.
No, it's like,
see what you got there.
I mean, another dress, another haul.
Yeah. So you were excited to talk about this episode. What excited you about what happened in this episode? What's got you going?
I'm excited about new girl, not just new character, but a new girl. I'm excited by all the discussions that can come up from this episode, because I don't even know where to begin, but I'll just pinpoint the things I'm excited by. Yeah.
Okay.
New girl, how people react to the new girl, whether male or female. Mm-hmm. Simply, we don't have non-binary characters. They would have known about those in the 90s, or they might have. Anyway.
On TV anyway.
Not on TV. Excited about the fashion. Excited about the music. Excited about the weird gun dare moment that we had.
Uh-huh.
Oh, new school year. Hello.
Yeah. This is we're back at West Bev for another school year, for a second junior year of high school, which is awesome.
And they are dreading it so much more than, again, I guess I'm a weird kid. I loved school. I couldn't wait to get back in school.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first day of school, because the episode starts out drawing a lot of parallels to the first episode of season 1, right? Brandon's having a sex dream or something, and again, wakes up to Brenda calling his name, which is, we acknowledged this is a thing, and it's creepy and whatever, but there it is.
Your sister.
Yeah. I'm going to quibble with Brandon's dream.
Yes.
Why is he so much more interested in the woman who is far away walking up the beach than he is with the literally 3 women all over him, one of whom is giving him a pedicure? Focus.
His fantasies are so weird, and again, they're written without any real acknowledgement of what kids might be fantasizing, because I don't think that's a true teenage fantasy. I think it'd be a lot simpler.
Right. Like that girl over there, I think I might have seen her bra.
Quick side note.
Really? You did? Oh my God.
Quick side note. I need to send you a photo. There was a gal, I almost a character, but it's reality TV. There was a lady on The Bachelor this week who was talking to The Bachelor and went, I can't breathe in this dress. I'll be right back. I'm going to change into something more comfortable. Comes out in what Brandon would describe as a bra that's not really a bra, but is a bra, but isn't.
Yes. Yeah. She wore a bra that looks like a bra, but isn't a bra, but is a bra?
Yes.
Well, I would think that would be more comfortable because it's multiple things.
I wouldn't, because, again, these women are constantly, adjusting their outfits, and I'm like, don't wear it if you have to futz with it.
Yeah, especially if you're on TV and you're wearing a mic.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
But anyway, Brandon, his fantasies.
Yeah. So, yeah, he wakes up and he's like, new school, I'm psyched. Basically he didn't say psyched this time, but he said basically everything else he said when he woke up.
Yeah.
In the pilot.
I don't know why Godzilla didn't get to wake him up.
No, he's still there. Godzilla is still on the wall next to football sports. And I like now that I've noticed that and it's still there, it's fun to me because I know what that is. That is a wall they built once. And every time they have to shoot in Brandon's room, they slide that wall into place and they shoot it. They haven't reset that wall at all.
Yeah.
And it's just that Godzilla and football sports. And in real life, Brandon would have redecorated his room at some point in the last year. But this is a TV show where they built that wall once and now they're moving on.
Yeah.
I love that it's still there, though, because it was dumb then and it's still dumb.
Sex didn't change him that much. He still has his Godzilla alarm.
And his football sports.
Yep.
Yeah, I love the generic sport thing. That's so funny. And so then they focus a lot on clothes. Like they show everybody getting ready. You know, like Kelly's checking her shoes. She tries on like 4 pairs of shoes, and
it's
Steve
a big
tries
thing.
on like
first day of school outfit.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that that's where they started. You know, here's Steve with his horrible shirt, and Donna with her like 75 hairstyles, but then they show up at school, and you get to see what they chose. It's pretty subtle. They don't like they start with a shot of Kelly's feet and come up.
Yeah.
So you can see the shoes she chose. She never changed the outfit. You see Donna's hair, which is just like a normal hairdo, just instead of things happening, wisps and teases and whatever else she had going on there. And Kelly's like, nice shirt, Steve. Or Donna is like, nice shirt, Steve. And he didn't say, oh, this whole thing, I only wear this one. I don't care how I look.
Thank you.
But he could have.
He could have.
It would have been just as real, I think. And then the twins pull into the parking lot in not Mondale.
And they knock Mondale.
Yeah, I think Brandon wanted to stick up for Mondale, but he knows it's a losing battle because he's got this sweet 65 Stang that now runs, thanks to Jim.
Yeah, and I think instead of knocking Mondale, they should have knocked the person who killed him.
Well, that's true. Remember when you had a car, Brandon, but then you got drunk and ran it into something? Remember?
We do.
We do.
Never forget.
No. Justice for Mondale. So let's go ahead and transition to what this episode is really about. Because I think that one of the first things it's really about, for me anyway, is what a difference a year makes.
Yeah.
Like they're drawing these parallels pretty directly from the pilot to this episode of season 2, which on any normal show at the time, this would have been the season premiere.
Yeah.
You know, if this is September 12th, it's right after Labor Day. This is when the fall TV season kicks off. It's back to school. But we got 7 episodes before this of what it's like to have a summer. And you can feel the back to school of it all. Because you got to experience summer with them a little bit, which I think is kind of fun. We see, like, Brandon and Brenda are no longer the new kids at school. This is a different experience for them. They're no longer fish out of water. This is their water. You know, like Brenda didn't spend any time in front of the mirror before school. She knew what she wanted to wear. Unlike in the pilot, and unlike the first 6 episodes of season 1, where she's constantly redressing herself.
She had a newfound confidence this episode. Like, it felt like in Mean Girls when Katie replaces Regina as the queen bee. Mm-hmm. Like, Brenda's always in the middle, which I know is aesthetically pleasing because she's brunette and the other 2 are blonde, but like... Right. And
also I think shorter too, so it like makes a V.
True, but it's just interesting because, again, being put in the middle is, I mean, that's status.
Right. It used to be Kelly. Kelly was the cool girl that she was trying to emulate. And now a year later, Brenda's in the middle. Brenda's dressing like Annie Hall. She knows what she wants to wear.
Yeah.
And Kelly and Donna are the ones trying to figure out how to fit in. You know, are these the right shoes? Is this the right hair? What do I want to present when I come to school today? And Brenda's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And, Brandon's driving not Mondale, so the car fits in the lot. Got rid of the valet, I guess.
Couldn't afford it anymore.
Yeah, they got rid of the dancers, the students who just dance in front of the school. They got rid
Couldn't
of them.
afford them either.
No, you got to cut costs somewhere if you're going to. You cut it on walls that have football sports on them, and you cut it on the parking stand.
With all the music this episode and the new character, yeah, they moved some money around.
They did, yeah. Although not enough, because you can't watch this episode streaming.
Yeah.
Which really sucks, because there's a lot that happens in this episode, and a lot of important music cues. Like, music plays a large role in this episode, and you just don't get to watch it because they did it wrong, and just a lack of foresight, or I think probably because I've heard Charles Rosen talk about his desire at the time to like lock up music for the show, the network not doing it, or the company that was producing the show not wanting to spend the money. So like it probably wasn't a lack of foresight by everybody. It was the lack of a commitment to spend the money on it. And I think that the show suffers for it. Like you watched this episode with the real music. It's like the second or third time you've ever done that. How is it different? Like, do you notice it?
I do notice it more. I notice the music more because it feels more like I'm supposed to notice it. It doesn't feel like it's meant to be underscoring necessarily. It's more pronounced. I would say it matches more, and it's just noticeable how much more it matches
right
with what's going on.
Yeah, as opposed to like the slumber party dance. If they're not playing Moni Moni, they're singing Moni Moni, and it looks weird and doesn't fit.
But be glad. Well, I don't know which is worse: rewatching a show where songs all throughout the series are changed, or what I've experienced with Dawson's Creek, which is the back and forth of like, are you gonna give me the original theme song, or are you gonna give me this other shit?
Wait, sometimes they do want to wait for their life to be over?
They have finally, I think on Max is where we get the true theme song.
Weird.
I know.
That's a pretty iconic theme song. Like, if you replace the Friends theme song, it would be really fucking weird.
When I tell you, I think this was the beginning of me knowing I had anger issues. Because when it came to streaming, it might not have even just been on streaming. I think it might have also happened on the DVD set, but I haven't watched the DVD set in a while, so I can't remember. If someone remembers, remind me, or I'll find it later. But like, yeah, they replaced it with another song, again, because of copyright licensing laws and all that. And I'm sure in any other context, it would be a perfectly fine song. But I can't enjoy it because of what it's replaced.
Yeah.
I mean, they even reference it within an episode. The characters, like, how do you take this away from us?
Yeah, you should leave that shit in there. It's messed up.
Yeah.
The fans, people.
Give the singer her money.
That's right. Paula Cole needs to get paid. She's unfound. She doesn't know where all the cowboys have gone, and she has to find them.
Oh, man, that's her too. Wow.
I think it's the same album. It's a good album.
Yeah. I say like I know.
All right, I have to do this because until I do, I can't get it out of my head.
That's fine.
But there's a South Park episode where Cartman wants to get a Dawson's Creek trapper keeper, and it turns out to be like a magic trapper keeper. It's a weird episode, but he just keeps singing, "I don't want to wait for my trapper keeper to be over," and that's what I think of whenever I think of that song. Is that I don't want to wait for my trapper keeper to be over.
Amazing. Yeah, when we rewatched it, much like I do with 90210, I refused to skip through the song because...
Yeah, the intro's solid. It's what it gets you there. Yeah. So, David is not who he was a year ago.
Even though he didn't score.
No, he didn't score. Not as such. And he's not Fred Cool or Joe Cool.
Should be Joe Cool.
He's a tastemaker now, apparently. He runs the airwaves at West Beverly, and he's kind of outgrown Scott.
Yeah.
And, and because Scott went away to Tulsa for his summer vacation and came back in a Stetson with fireworks and a shotgun. And a love of both types of music, country and Western.
My stomach dropped when he got out that gun.
It's tough.
I'm scared. I don't know if it's just our current climate affecting me, but I'm like, please don't let this be foreshadowing.
I mean, we got Roger Azarian with his gun, and now we've got Scott who can take out a bird's eye at 500 yards or whatever the hell. I don't know what that bird did to you, Scott. Calm down. But
right.
But Scott's like, I didn't change that much. I just went away for summer vacation. And I think that's probably how they all feel.
Yeah.
They all feel like, I haven't changed that much. We just had summer, but they all have. Like, David is definitely a different kid than he was at the beginning or even at the end of last year. He's far more accepted.
Yeah.
He's the center of so many things, because he's the radio guy and he's running the performance at the end and all that stuff. And, Brenda and Brandon are more comfortable. They're like, they know where things are. Brandon's showing people where they can put their axe. Brandon knows that a guitar is called an axe, something. Apparently he's learned at some point, which I don't feel like is native information to Brandon Walsh of Minnesota. But maybe when you're Brandon Walsh of Beverly Hills, you know what an axe is. And, Kelly and Steve are no longer barely on speaking terms. Like, there's a lot of the show has changed. And the characters, even though in the first season we just watched them repeatedly not remember what they had done in the past.
Yeah.
Now we see that they do remember those things. Like Brenda almost called Andrea on the rap line. And
misuse of the rap line, but okay.
Well, I mean, if she needed help processing emotional things that were just too big, sure, that's use of the rap line. That's great. I mean, that one guy just wanted to call and talk about jerking off. So
that's true.
People use the rap line for all sorts of things.
It feels like this is their second attempt at a first season. Like, I don't know who wanted this version more, the writers or the producers.
I'm not sure there's too big a difference between those two. But I do think that I know that it was a fight to decide to make them seniors at the end of this year.
Oh,
because you realize that the show's popular.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh no, like we only have one more year of them in high school, or we deny reality and just keep them in high school forever, and that feels weird.
Yeah.
And so there's a risk. Like, what do? Do they graduate? And so, like, I think that keeping it status quo for this year was like the super safe, easy move.
Yeah. Because
they're like, we know what this is. It's a high school drama. And now we know our characters a little bit more. It's no longer a fish out of water story. Water.
I know. I was like,
I don't know why I just said water like that. But I did.
You did.
But it's no longer a fish out of water story where, not for the Walshes anyway.
Yeah.
Now we have to reaffix that to a new person. We've got to, we bring in a new character, which, like, did you watch the clip I sent you?
I did.
Okay. So you understand why I have the thought I have.
I do.
So I we talked about this in season 1, how Brandon was Poochie, right?
Yes.
And he's Poochie in the later iterations after what I sent to you aired and nobody liked it. And they wanted to get rid of Poochie. And that's where Homer's like, I think everyone should be asking more. Like, if Poochie's not there, they should be, where is Poochie? Which is Brandon, right? But in this case, this is the introduction of the character Poochie, and it is Itchy and Scratchy driving down the road to the fireworks factory. 2 miles, 1 mile, half mile. And then this new character shows up. And this is obviously meant to be a send-up of every TV show that has ever introduced a new character to goose the storyline. To like when the Seavers had a baby and Ben was no longer the youngest, or when like Rudy started being not as cute anymore because she was 8 instead of 5, and they had to bring in Raven Simone. Like you need and then later Cousin Pam, who can just suck it, but neither here nor there. And it doesn't always flame out. Sometimes like in Cheers, like Diane leaves, you bring in Rebecca, the show actually gets better in some ways, which is pretty interesting. But the whole thing shows that struggle, bring on new characters to goose ratings.
Yeah.
And that's not really what's happening in 90210, but when they bring Poochie in, he's wearing a leather jacket, he's riding a motorcycle, he has a guitar, he's Emily Valentine. And she introduces herself over and over and over again, which reminded me of when Poochie introduces himself to Itchy and Scratchy with his song where he's like a third Fonzarelli.
Yeah.
It's an awesome introductory song. Scratchy looks at Itchy and goes, "What's that name again?" They put their fingers so heavy on you need to say this new character's name over and over again so people remember it thing. And that's exactly what happens. Emily introduces herself, first and last name, like 4 times in the first 10 minutes.
Within 10 minutes. It was so extra.
It was so funny. What's that name again?
I need that same energy put into Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, like any of those, because I still couldn't tell you what those characters' names are.
It's tough. Yeah, no, that's super tough. You need the second screen experience to watch that thing. But you don't need it here because her name is Emily Valentine.
Yeah. And you will want her by the end of this too. Oh my God.
I feel like there was a scene cut where she meets Steve in the parking lot too.
Oh, okay. Just because of how they interact later?
Yeah, because she sees him and she's like, "Hey, Corvette." And he's like, "My funny Valentine." Like, it feels like that's their second conversation. And it just got cut for time. And it would make sense because she needs to have met and flirted with all of the boys.
Or even just simply interacted because, like, I was once the new girl too. And thankfully, not every girl or not any girl thought I was a slut, or at least never told me that. But like, it's like getting a new puppy. They're going to be friendly to everyone because, and that's the great thing about Emily Valentine is that even though she's kind of like, I have a debate about whether she's the cool girl trope or the manic pixie dream girl. I'm leaning towards cool girl because I don't know enough about her yet to be manic pixie dream girl. But, she seems to genuinely want to make friends and fit in at this new school. And so, yeah, while I would definitely say she flirted with Dylan, which who wouldn't? Yeah. He's waiting in a car, looking at you, and then stepping over it like he doesn't give a shit about money anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, his mom came back into town, and he's fine.
Did Dylan Smolder work for you this time?
No, because I was looking at Emily more.
Okay.
I was like, "You're cute. I kind of wish you had better hair, but you're cute, and I like your style."
You didn't like Emily's hair?
It's okay. I have a hard time with I'm going to say the skunk look, even though it's not full-on skunk, but like just how abrasively different the coloring was.
Yeah, from her roots. Yeah.
And I know that was sort of the style. It just, look, this is a TV show. I know you have the money. I know you have the hairstylist. They weren't
Right.
great with Brenda last season, but I think
Mhm.
like it's the same thing that happens when they get a person of color on a TV series because they don't have someone who can do their hair as well. So it's like,
Them or makeup or
yeah. So it kind of feels like they did our girl dirty a little bit. And from the few photos I've seen and discussions with you, it seems like they're going to continue to do her dirty because she has short hair. She's different.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, I shared pictures of Emily's later hairstyles, or I don't know. I did. I shared it with you.
You didn't, I don't think you did. I looked up. Yeah.
Yeah, because I warned Leslie that Emily's hairstyle changes in a much worse direction than what it looks like here. So she Googled and saw future head Emily.
I'm not happy.
No one is. It's upsetting, but I think she did that. I think that was Christina Lisa's choice. That weird ass haircut she has later on.
Okay.
So I don't know if I don't know if this haircut is her idea or if it's the producer's idea, but it works way better. You know?
I bet she had this hair. I bet they were looking for different looking girl, and short hair would have been as unique as they want to go in the 90s.
And there is a Jason Priestley and Christina Lise were together.
I saw they lived together. I assume that means they were together.
They were together for a while, like
Wow.
for a few years, yeah. And I think still good friends now and whatever. But
yay!
But yeah, they were definitely together at the time. So I don't know she came in looking like this. Did they change her to look like? I don't know that stuff, but I do think that it's interesting to compare her to Brenda from last year to this year as the new girl in school, right?
Yeah.
Because one, Emily knows who she is.
Yes.
In ways that Brenda definitely did not at the beginning of last season. She's confident in her dress, her appearance, her sense of humor. She's confident in her musical abilities for reasons that I don't think are borne out by the facts. But she is who she is. She's a fully formed character at this point and not someone trying to find a way to fit in. She's just being nice to people and trying to have conversations with them and flirting with the guys because they're flirting with her. And what's wrong with that? Nothing. Go to town, have a good time. I mean, how else are you going to get to go up to the Griffith Observatory twice in 2 days to just straight make out with dudes?
Yeah. Jealous.
I know, me too. I want to make out with dudes.
Because the one time I went up to Griffith's Observatory, it was a stressful time. Yeah. And even though we didn't stay up there, I'm pretty sure if we had, making out would have been the last thing I could fathom at the time.
Yeah. Were you busy rebelling against whatever they got?
No, I wasn't. I was busy moving across the country.
Oh, okay. Have you seen Rebel Without a Cause?
I have. Was not a huge fan, but I've now seen it. I have that on my list.
Yeah, I don't love it either, but it's iconic. You sort of need to know it. I mean, it's a thing you need to have seen at some point.
If you're gonna watch The Room, you definitely need to know it.
Well, oh my God, tearing me apart,
Lisa.
Oh, hi, Mark. It's my favorite.
So
it's such a terrible movie.
I like Emily Valentine. This is part of what I think this episode is about is, and I know I said it more succinctly in text, but I think this episode is about how it's one thing for teenage girls to be having sex. It's another thing for them to be protecting themselves. Like making choices for their bodies, such as birth control. Because for one thing, they call her this before they know that she's going to get on the pill.
Or date half of their friends in 2 days.
Yeah, like, this is about how women treat other women. And when a new girl comes into town, interacts with men that don't belong to anyone, like ladies, if you don't want to be perceived as belonging to anyone, then you need to think or grant men the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And she says she's doing that.
But she's not.
No, she's very much not, but I think she intends to.
Well, and again, this episode is about so many things. So that goes into my last thing, which is sometimes you need the worst to happen in order for you to make the choice you want to make. Brenda needed to almost lose Dylan.
Right.
To get him back, which is stupid because he was there the whole time, lady. In fact, I'm surprised he even took you back because you looked like a bitch this episode.
Oh, Brenda sucked hard this episode.
Like, I didn't think he could look worse after slapping Andrea, but my God.
Yeah, Brenda seems to be she's either on a downward personality spiral where she's just becoming much more of a bitch, kind of all the time. Or maybe Dylan's not good for her. Like, maybe because, like, although it wasn't about Dylan when she slapped Andrea. It was about Chris Suter. So, like, maybe Brenda is just really territorial about men.
Which is not a great look for anyone.
Yeah. But she can't, like, she says the right things to start with. You know, we're broken up. Dylan can see who he wants. I'm not going to be the jealous type. Like, but it's like she's trying to convince everyone and herself that is true.
Yeah.
You know, and it turns out to be wildly untrue.
This kind of goes back a little bit, but, you know, I don't recall, like, Dylan is labeled as a player, you know? Mm-hmm. But in reality, I feel like he just dates, you know? Much like Emily.
30, maybe 20 to 30 women he slept with at this point. I mean, remember, he's got a most of the time.
That's true. But then Brenda projects this idea onto him that he's a cheater because he's done that. And it's like, he may just be a serial monogamist.
Right.
And so I don't think that's going to go well. Like, anytime you project one thing on people over and over again, at some point, they're just going to be like, well, fine. You see me this way. Like, I might as well do it.
And she definitely, like, she doesn't blame Dylan for this, though. She blames Emily for this. 100% of the time, she blames Emily for this. She doesn't, Dylan can do what he wants. We're not together. Dylan can do what he wants. And then when they went out, she wasn't mad that Dylan went out with her. She was mad that Emily went out with Dylan.
Yeah.
And then, like, when she finds out, the way Brandon broke this news was so weird because he calls her up and he goes, "Guess who I saw at the Peach Pit with Emily Valentine?" Dylan. It was Dylan. I saw Dylan.
And then she calls Kelly and says, "Emily made the first move."
Yes, that's what yes.
You didn't know that. Also, Brenda's not a girl's girl. Like, yeah. She's given brunettes a bad look in this episode.
She's given everybody a bad look in this episode. She's rough. And that's where I was getting to is, like, she calls Kelly and says Emily made the first move. She didn't. Emily didn't make the first move.
Oh.
Like, she parked her bike. Yeah. That was her first move.
She existed.
She happened to be near where Dylan was. That was the first move.
Yeah.
He flirted with her. He offered her a donut. And she did say, well, maybe you'll have to take me to get a cruller. And so, but that's not the first move. That's flirty. It's fine. Not a first move. Like, Dylan asks her out and then asks her out again.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how about now? Okay, how about tonight?
And when she first brought him up, when they were all hanging out together, rewriting the song, like, you could have brought it up, said, hey, we dated. I feel a way about this. But no.
I mean, I'm not a should person, but that was the opportunity. Like, there was enough opportunity at that table for those three girls to all look at each other, like, pointedly like, oh boy, this is a thing. This could be a problem. Oh no, I think she's going to date Dylan. Like, there's plenty of time for them to say all that with their eyeballs. Why don't they just say it with their mouths? Tell Emily, oh, you met Dylan? That's Brenda's ex.
Yeah.
And then you shortcut all of that stuff, and maybe you don't get Brenda realizing that she wants to be with Dylan, which is obviously where they wanted to get to by the end of the episode. They've been inching their way there all summer.
Yep.
But you can get Emily interacting with the whole group without making her like this horrible pariah.
It just made me not like anyone in the group. Because, again, like, even Andrea, when they all are like, there's a word for that kind of girl. Slut. I thought...
Yeah. I didn't love that for any of the girls in the show.
No.
I tell you who I didn't, other than that moment, I thought Kelly was pretty right on in her approach to Emily and Brenda this episode.
Yeah.
Because she's like, all right, Brenda, that was shitty. Like, you were a total asshole. Like, just FYI. And she was like, when it was clear that David had leader of the pact for Emily and she was maybe moving on from Kelly wasn't like that was presented like it could have been Kelly could have been jealous.
Yeah.
That this thing that she never really wanted was now being turned on someone else. And now I feel a little sad because I'm no longer the center of this guy's attention.
Yeah.
But she was just like, good luck.
Yeah.
She was like, enjoy being number one in the David Silver fan club. I'm kind of okay with you taking that mantle.
Yeah.
And she just like, she was welcoming and understanding of like, Emily's the new girl. The guys like her. That's fine. You know, I lived through this already. Like, I was here last year when you showed up and suddenly Dylan wanted to date you, even though he also wanted to date me, but he dated you, or then we flirted with him and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, this is old news for Kelly. She's used to guys getting attracted to the shiny new thing.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't get all bent out of shape about it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Donna is just being Donna.
Yeah.
You know, doing addicted to sex, which is hilarious.
I know.
So... All right, so let's talk about the music a little bit.
Yes.
Because this is an episode where I guess in some ways this is an episode about how music can accurately express everything you're feeling at every given moment. Because they really hit it in this episode. You know, Emily has a bit she's ready to do when she sits down on the lawn with her guitar.
Yeah.
She got a whole bit planned out. She's going to ask everybody what kind of car they drive. And then she's going to sing Janis Joplin at them. And so she does.
Very fast.
Yeah. And the word cringe didn't exist in 1991, but the whole scene makes me cringe. Like, it's just God, like,
it's cringy because it's a performer performing in front of people that they're trying to be friends with and they weren't asked to perform. I
think that's some of it. I do think it's
totally
weird when someone insists upon playing their guitar at other people. It's that scene from Animal House, you know, where you haven't seen because you just said okay, like you, yeah. It's I'm not a big Animal House guy. Like, it's fine, but there's a moment where a guy is at a frat party, a toga party, and he's sitting on the stairs and he's playing his guitar and he's strumming and he's got girls on the steps and they're all looking up at him. And Belushi comes by and grabs the guitar and smashes it.
Yes.
Just destroys it, which is like what everybody wants to do when that guy does that.
Yeah.
So it's cringy from that standpoint. It's also cringy for me because I don't think Christina Elise is a singer, and I don't think she was hired as a singer.
Nope.
But she still had to do this, and she did the best she could, and so I don't fault her for not being a good singer because I'm not a good singer. I feel bad for her that she was put in a position where in her first episode she had to sing 2 songs.
Well, and I thought, I mean, if you're before we got to the end, I was like, okay, not great, but if you're going to be hired on a show to sing and you're not a comfortable singer, Janis Joplin is the way to go.
Sure, you can gravel it up a little bit, and
like not an amazing vocalist by any means, but unique sound. We love her music. We know the unique sound. It's consistent.
I'll say this: I think Janis Joplin has an awesome voice. Like, she has an amazing range, and she can get up there, and she can growl with the fucking best of them. But I do think she's a good choice for someone who's trying to sing talk their way through a song.
Yeah.
If you want to be Mercedes-Benz.
That's more of what I mean. Like, it's a good song for an uncomfortable, untrained singer. It's still not sounding right. It sounds like I'm knocking Janis Joplin, and I love her. Don't come for me. I sing her stuff when I'm sick because I'm like, this is all I can sing.
Right. Yeah. I was watching last night the documentary on We Are the World, which is on Netflix.
Nice.
Which I totally recommend. You should really watch it. It's very cool.
Okay.
Because it's like We Are the World is a thing that happened. So when you know that it happened already, it seems like an inevitability.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you watch it, you realize how crazy it is, like actually crazy, that they had in the same room Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie and Daryl Hall and Steve Perry and Huey Lewis and Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles and Diana Ross and Waylon Jennings and Kenny Rogers and Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen, like Cyndi Lauper. Like, I don't want to leave anybody out, but you're going to leave people out because they got all of these people in one room to sing this song together. And like Quincy Jones put a thing, check your ego at the door.
Nice.
They had to record it all in one night. Like, they had one night to do this when everyone was in town for the American Music Awards. And it was like, have to keep it secret where it's at because it's going to be just paparazzi outside and whatever. And it was a whole logistical thing. But the thing that I thought was interesting is they started to put together in the writing of the song and the production of it, who's going to get solos and how you're going to pair those solos together.
Mm.
And they were like, we've got Bruce, who has this real gravelly voice, and Dylan, who has like a gravelly voice, but a very specific kind of voice. Yeah, but iconic. And this is a song that is meant to raise money and awareness for a social, to treat a world problem. And this is Bob Dylan. Like, times they are a changing Bob Dylan. Like, he's an icon in this thing. He has to be there, and he has to be highlighted in a way that makes sense. But then you also have, and so they're talking about, they've got this gruff voice, and it's like, what we should do though? We should put Steve Perry and Daryl Hall next to each other because they both have these very crisp voices, and they've got very high range, and like it's just the vocal qualities of each of the people in the room they had to put together. And the one thing I came away from this, and it's so off the topic, but when you see all of these people singing in the way they can sing, the thing I walked away with was, we've all been underestimating Daryl Hall.
Mm.
You're just used to Hall & Oates and what they sound like, and like he's got a really good voice and whatever. But when he does his part in this, you watch like 6 people go, like they just look at him like, what the was that?
Yeah,
who has that kind of voice? Like, and it's just like, yep, nope, Daryl Hall's there. So I think if you want to give Emily Valentine a song, giving her the Bruce parts to We Are the World is going to work better than giving her the Cyndi Lauper parts.
Absolutely. And and so the 2 songs were very different.
Uh-huh.
I don't know the other song as well, but again, like it seemed harder for her to pull off.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, from a story aspect, I want to go, then don't sing something unrehearsed, baby. But obviously, this has been rehearsed. We are to believe, although I'm going to say for the backup singers, because one, I don't know if that was really them. It
It was definitely not them.
didn't sound like them.
It was them.
They also, I love, like, from the beginning, which it could have been a natural thing, but it also looked very much how you would be in real life. Like, okay, we starting, which way are we going first? This way?
Right.
And eventually they had the moves down. But yeah, like, Brenda's looking over like, you all learned this for me, right?
Yeah, it's so I can't believe you don't know Breaking Up is Hard to Do. I mean, it's a song from the 50s. It's a girl group song.
I know the song. I guess what I mean is I don't know the artist as well.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I don't love... Well, I kind of hate, actually, the Breaking Up is Hard to Do performance. And I kind of hate it because Emily Valentine she gets the words wrong.
Mm.
You don't give your love how does she say? She says a brand new... No, she says another start, and it's a brand new start, or vice versa. She says it wrong.
Well, they're singing it to Brenda and Dylan.
Right. She
says...
She says brand new, and it's not brand new.
Oh, okay.
And it just irritates me that she's got the words wrong. But she sounds like... And I'm not a vocal... Like, I couldn't tell, but she sounds very thin. And, you know...
Like she's reaching...
Yeah, and it doesn't... I don't like it. I don't like any of it.
Which, you know, a good time for when a little slide might have come in handy.
Yep. I did my Chris Isaac scooping slide.
It's beautiful.
Everybody. It is. I have got grace and charm.
So yeah, like not to knock people, but you know, as someone who would like to get cast to sing stuff, cast a singer.
Yeah, it would have been nice. And so let's talk real quick about writing of the parody song.
Yes.
Hold on a second.
I will.
Let's go to Nostalgia Corner.
Okay.
Because this makes me nostalgic for writing parody songs.
Oh, okay.
Just something I did in high school. So let's talk about the writing of the parody song.
Yes.
They're approaching this in the way that I would, which is like you pay attention to the meter and you want to get all of the syllables to match. Like, your parody should match the rhyme and the meter and the beat of the original.
Okay.
And it should have the rhymes at the same point you don't want to change the rhyme scheme.
Yeah.
You know, you want to, like, so the lights are on and you're not home. Your mind is not your own. Your heart beats double time, another kiss, and you'll be mine. Those are the lyrics to Addicted to Love, at least one of the verses. And I just did that off the top of my head, guys. So pat me on my back.
Gold star.
So that's what they're doing, right? They're doing the sales on something else. You ask your mom, says, I don't care. Like, I don't remember what the, words that they chose were, but they were approaching it in the right way.
Yeah.
And that you're gonna get a parody that matches. Because nothing bugs me more than a parody where they take liberties with the song structure. Yeah. Or like they add an extra syllable. I'm like, that's not right. You lost me.
If you really love Christmas.
We just slam it in there. Yeah, I hate that. That makes me nuts. Although that used to comedic effect, I'm a big fan of Christmas is All Around Me.
Of course.
So, but you were interested in the what on your credit card. There's lots of room. What is she running that with? Phone?
Well, because I thought she said Rome. So
your credit card, there's lots of room, is what she said.
Oh no. Well then, yeah that doesn't work.
But it kind of does, because. So anyway, but start with Sondheim, because you were going to talk about Sondheim.
Of course I was.
Always talk about Sondheim.
Me. And when I saw this part. And they immediately knocked Donna for her attempt at rhyme. One, I'm always just a little like, why are you knocking Donna? Be nice to her.
Right. Yeah.
But then I was also intrigued because for any musical theater nerd out there, if you've read or not read Stephen Sondheim's Finishing the Hat, Look, I Made a Hat, he talks a lot about his writing process. And so I wanted to look through it. And I have a quote that I think will tie into this piece perfectly. True rhyming is a necessity in the theater as a guide for the ear to know what it has just heard. Our language is so complex and difficult, and there are so many similar words and sounds that mean different things that it's confusing enough without using near rhymes that only equate the ear with a vowel. A near rhyme is not useful to the primary purpose of a lyric, which is to be heard, and it teaches the ear to not trust or to disregard a lyric, to not listen, to simply let the music wash over you.
Interesting. I know, that was Laura.
That was an adequate response.
Yep. So here's why I think that's interesting, because I'm kind of surprised that he lands on near rhymes are not good.
I'm not.
Well, I am, because I think near rhymes are used constantly in musical theater. Like when Hamilton was out, a friend of mine at the time was very irritated by something being a near rhyme, and I'm like, I don't know how you have this problem. Listen to Hamilton. There's so many near rhymes in there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't distract from the story, and it doesn't teach the word to disregard what it just heard, or the ear to disregard what it just heard. So many people learned that whole Lafayette, like when he jumps up on the table and he's like making redcoats redder with bloodstains, grabbing this horse by the reins, like all of like those things that he says. There's so many rhymes, and they're not all exact.
No,
in that show. And you mentioned the Sondheim of it, and it reminded me of this thing that Eminem said. Eminem is just a prolific rhymer and wordsmith. Just is what he is. And he said, this was an interview that he did with Anderson Cooper in 2011. He said, the word orange doesn't rhyme with anything, and it kind of pisses me off because I can think of a lot of things that rhyme with orange. If you're taking the word at face value, you just say orange, nothing's going to rhyme with it exactly. But if you enunciate it and make it more than one syllable, orange, you can say like, I put my orange, 4-inch, door-inch in storage and ate porridge with George. Like,
wow.
None of those are, and he popped that off the top of his head because that's, and I did not deliver that in any kind of way that he can deliver that. But like the idea that door hinge and orange rhyme is true. They do rhyme if you say them in a way that makes them sound like they rhyme.
Yeah.
So you could say phone and room is a bit of a stretch. Like, I think that's harder to pull off than if at least the vowel sounds match.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't say, picked up my phone, there was no room. Like that doesn't, like I don't feel that one. It doesn't work.
He talks about that a little bit too with and I'm going to not change the quote, but not deliver it verbatim. But, he talked about how in West Side Story, when he was working with Leonard Bernstein, Leonard Bernstein is from Boston and Sondheim is not. So like Bernstein, I think, thought dawn, lawn, gone, and on all rhyme together. And that made Sondheim cringe because I guess he's thinking of dawn and lawn.
Right.
That's my guess. Because in my head, I'm thinking, those all do rhyme, Stephen. What are you talking about?
I do think there's something to be said for how that dialect hits when you're trying to make a word rhyme. And you can clearly play with it because there are different dialects. And, the 4-inch door-inch with your syringe rhyming with orange, yeah, that works.
I mean, if we were to write a show about Louisville, we could rhyme multitudes of things because Louisville is pronounced so many different ways and it's amazing, except for when people say Louisville.
Right. You could go to Louisville and have a gooey thrill. Right? Or you could go to let's see. If you went to Louisville, you could chew it still. I know, I'm just doing this off the top of my head, guys.
I know. I'm not brave enough to do this. Like, I can parody, but like, I'm not good at using my powers. I can only use them on a whim. I can't use them on
him.
Command. Oh my god!
Oh. See, I did it again.
Amazing.
I know. I just fucking slay it with the rhymes. All right, so yeah, I like writing song parodies. That's what it made me nostalgic for.
I'm in Louisville and feeling full.
That's right. Oh, that's right. You went to Louisville and now you're full. There you go. I like it. So, yeah, you should definitely have a hoodie on when you do things like that. When you assault the English language that way.
How my hair went was perfection.
I liked it. Yeah, it was very silly. All right, so what did this make you nostalgic for?
It made me nostalgic for planning out my outfit for the first day of school.
Ah, that's a good one.
What I thought that was going to mean for the rest of the year, I don't know, but I related to that so much, you know?
Never get a second chance to make a first impression.
But yeah, it was a simple one.
I like it. I mean, it's certainly what the episode was about at the beginning. There was a lot riding on that. I mean, Scott wore a big old hat, so now we know Scott is different.
Brenda had an Annie Warhol look going on.
Annie Hall.
Oh my god.
Yep. You smushed them together. That's okay. That movie would be really interesting if it was Andy Warhol. That'd be a really, really weird movie. It's already kind of a weird movie, but it'd be a super weird movie if it was Andy Warhol instead of Annie Hall.
Annie Hall. Good God.
I know. And Steve's wardrobe choice is so strong that it makes it into the opening credits. You know, him looking at that striped sweater and going, ooh, harsh, hard pass.
And Emily Valentine's outfit made me think, or not the first one, but later on, because she had the hat, looked like Annie in Pretty in Pink.
Which one's is Annie Molly Ringwald?
Annie's Molly Ringwald.
I don't remember the character names. That's probably the Hughes movie I've seen maybe second to least. I don't think I've Some Kind of Wonderful I've barely watched.
Oddly enough, I've watched that the most because that one is on TV a lot, and man, we could do a whole episode on just how my views have changed of that movie.
Oh, well, I mean,
for the good. Like, I mean, movies. Good and bad and ugly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, maybe we do have a sister podcast, the Peach Pod After Dark, where we could do exactly that if you wanted to.
That'd be awesome.
I'm sure we could find a way. I don't think it would.
Love an excuse to watch Pretty in Pink.
It's pretty all right. I like the song too.
Yeah,
that psychedelic first song is a good one. Okay, so who? And I think there's only kind of one answer here. Is your Steve Sanders Memorial worst person of the episode?
It's Brenda.
It's Brenda. Brenda sucks.
You were a straight up bitch this episode. No ice cream for you.
No.
Like, girl, sex changed you in the way that it changed Brittany Murphy in Clueless.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, so don't have sex?
Oh, no.
Is that the moral?
But they're trying to say, once again, don't. Except Kelly and Donna aren't bitches about it.
Well, so here's the thing. It hasn't come up yet, and you wouldn't know it by the jokes Donna makes, but Donna has not.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Remember when I told you that being a virgin plays large in someone's legend?
Oh.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be Andrea.
No, not in the way that it is for Donna.
Wow.
So, yeah, this is Donna and virgin are synonymous.
I bet how people perceive Donna is how I was perceived in high school, because I got a lot of jokes made about me. and I look back now and I'm like, you know what? That's fine. I'll still take that over being called a slut, because, you know, who gets tortured more in school, unfortunately?
Yeah.
Lesson here, don't torture anyone for their sex choices.
Yeah, let people alone. Let people be happy.
School, for crying out loud.
I know. It sucks. But yeah, Brenda she's just loud, nasty.
I was astonished that her parents didn't say anything.
Well, they did eventually.
I mean, they did eventually, but like, my mom would have been like, "You're being really rude. What is wrong with you?"
Right.
I
You
didn't
invite her
raise
to
you.
your house.
Yeah.
You know, this was, there was an episode of The Simpsons, big shock, where Sideshow Bob is coming to try to kill Bart, which is what he does. Like, Bart's his nemesis. He tries to kill him all the time. And Chief Wiggum tells Homer, if you invite somebody into your house, anything, if someone breaks into your house, anything you do to them is nice and legal. And so Homer goes, Flanders, come here. And he goes, it does. And he says, it doesn't work if you invite him. And he's like, oh. And that's kind of what Brenda did. Like, she invited Emily over, like, to shoot her with a shotgun. And it doesn't work if you invite them. So
damn.
It just, it wasn't cool.
Unless it's New Jersey, everything is legal in New Jersey.
Well, that's true. How did you feel about at least one person I know's favorite line of the entire series?
Fuck yeah.
Have a good time at the gynecologist.
Have a good time at the gynecologist. I want that on a shirt.
I'm sure that you could probably get it because it's a pretty famous 90210 line. I bet it exists already.
Because, listen, I can come up with places I've had a worse time, like, getting a colonoscopy.
Right.
But I can guarantee you, I have never had a good time at the gynecologist.
Yeah. I mean, I have because I just sit in the waiting room.
Wow.
And, like, I can play on my phone or whatever. Like, it's fine. Like, that waiting room is the same as any other waiting room for me.
You're not having a speculum, a cold speculum.
Right. Because I'm having a different experience. I'm just a guy in the waiting room.
You know where... See, I always get so mad, or not mad, but just annoyed that men get porn when they're having to, give sperm.
Right.
Women need porn in the room before a gynecological exam. I need something that's going to loosen me up, and it doesn't have to be straight up porn. Give me books. Give me something that's going to relax me a little bit, people.
Right.
Make me want to go to the gyno. I didn't know I was going to be having this fist slam moment, but this is what I am.
Here's what's happening in my head right now. I'm singing "Make Me Want to Go to the Gyno" to the tune of "You Can Make a Person Crazy."
You can make
me want to go to the gyno. You can put me in the stirrups.
Walter found old mail for me recently, and I had already gotten this email. This ties in, I promise. So I already knew the results, but I had to have my first mammogram this year. So he found the letter, the old mail, and I was looking at it, and it's just funny to read, like, the results are in, and, no cancer was found. Great. But then what they do find is, and also in print, is you do have dense breasts. And I'm like, great, I have that in writing.
Right.
I don't know what to do with that, but yay, not cancer.
At least it's not like no cancer found, kind of weird nipples. You know what I mean? Like, if you'd gotten that kind of feedback, I feel like that'd be real weird.
Just like I'm sure, just like I know geriatric pregnancy is a technical term, I want them to have a better term because I'm like, that's going to give me a complex. Calling my boobs dumb is going to give me a complex.
You don't want that. You don't want a boob-related complex.
I feel like the gyno is the only time I have doctors saying weird stuff about my body.
Yeah.
And then following it up with, but this is perfectly normal. Then why'd you say it that way?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Have a good time with the gynecologist.
I won't.
No.
Incidentally.
I mean, I don't know if Emily did or not, but she went.
Incidentally, I have the paper that I took notes on. I had a picture of a vulva. So
nice. I like it.
Because why not?
Yeah, for sure. If I took notes, there would just be that all over them. I would drive vulvas everywhere.
We need to find that stationery.
Yeah, exactly. Just the vulva stationery.
Write it down. This episode is unhinged.
Yes, we ended up. I mean, I'm not going to leave it in, guys, where we watched the cast recording for Sondheim for company, but we did, and it mattered. It was important to what we were talking about.
All the gyno stuff should stay in.
Oh, for sure.
I don't care.
I'm only cutting out the part where we were listening to Sondheim because it's, I don't have the rights to it. But maybe I'll try to find a way to slide. You can make a person crazy or whatever it's called.
Drive a person.
Drive a person crazy. Goody, booby, goody, booby. Say it like that. Now she's going to say goody, but it's not my fault.
Oh, theater.
Great. Yep. All right, Cheesemeisters. I think we did it.
We did.
So join us next week for Season 2, Episode 9, Ashes to Ashes, which is a top 5 what the fuck episode for me.
No.
It's a Brandon Fixes It episode. We're going to see if it passes the Brandel test.
I'm scared.
I have so many thoughts about this episode, and I can't wait until you watch it, and we can talk about it next week. And we'll see if my thoughts change. I doubt that they will because they're super well formed at this point.
Yeah.
But Season 2, Episode 9, Ashes to Ashes is coming up next week, and I'm super kind of excited about it. So until then, Cheesemeisters.
Have a good time at the gynecologist.
Bye.